Well, it's hard to love my neighbor as myself, first of all, if I don't love myself. And I think that's a lot of times what I'm seeing. Like, when you look at the culture and climate of today's day and age, a lot of us deal with self-love issues. Hey girl, hey, it's your girl Loretta here, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is where self-care meets soul care, and where every day is a different day, but we choose to make the most out of today. Well, listen, this month is all about love. It is February, the love month, and if you did not catch the last video that I talked about love, go ahead and look at it and tell me what you think, write it in the comments. But we basically talked about our first love. And we talked about just how God is our first love and how we have to make sure that we understand and know that nothing can separate us from his love. But today I want to talk about something a little bit more challenging for us, because again, on this channel, we grow together, okay? We challenge each other to be the best versions of ourselves. I want to talk about first love. First, comma, love. What does that mean, Lo? Well, I feel like in this culture and climate that we're in, we don't love, y'all. Like, we do not love each other for who we are. It's a lot of tension. It's a lot of racial tension. It's a lot of political tension. It's a lot of tension, like in the church, like different denominations and it's just a lot of hate. And I feel like we need to understand that we have to first love people for who they are, for what they believe, for, just for who they are, period. Like, that is literally a command. Whenever I think about love, I think about the story in the Bible where Jesus is talking to the crowd and he's teaching them. And then one of the Pharisees comes up and tries to hate on Jesus, and he interrupts him. And he asks Jesus, well, what is the greatest commandment? And then Jesus asks him back, well, what do you think it is? And then the Pharisee says, love God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And then Jesus responds to him and he says, the last one, that latter one, love your neighbor as yourself, is the greatest commandment. And then the Pharisee comes back with his little sarcastic self and says, well, who is my neighbor? And right then, Jesus goes back into teaching mode. And he talks about the story of the Good Samaritan. And in this story, you know, there's a guy, he's traveling, he gets robbed, he gets beat up really bad. And his own people, y'all, like the people in his community, are traveling on this road. 3 people walk right past him. I think one of them was a priest, one of them was a Levi, and they literally just walk right past him. And the Good Samaritan, the person who was actually not in his community at all, that really culturally they were enemies. They didn't like each other. He comes, he takes him up, he puts him on his horse. It might have been a donkey, y'all, but you know, he basically, you know, he takes them to an inn. He pays his way at this inn, and he tells the innkeeper, hey, whatever he needs, put that on my Amex, like put that on my card. I got him. The Samaritan, y'all, the person who was the least likely person to take care of this man, took care of him. All because he led with love. Love your neighbor as yourself. Well, it's hard to love my neighbor as myself, first of all, if I don't love myself. And I think that's a lot of times what I'm seeing. Like, when you look at the culture and climate of today's day and age, a lot of us deal with self-love issues. You know, a lot of us, we don't love ourselves for who we are. We don't fully accept ourselves for who we are. And so because of that, it's very hard to not hate on someone. It's very hard to not want to compare and compete with somebody. It's very hard to not fully accept and love someone else if you don't fully accept and love yourself. So the first challenge I want to, really task you with on this video, because again, we're all about challenge and growth as a community, is to let's focus on self-love. Focus on loving yourself this month. Really, pour into yourself. You know, if you are feeling some type of disconnection between, you know, loving yourself and accepting yourself, you know, start journaling. Write down, what is it about you that you don't love about you, right? And if you can work on those things, work on those things. You know, it's all about self-improvement. It's all about becoming the best version of yourself. So that's my first challenge. My next challenge, though, is to, after we've done that work on loving others for who they are. We do not always have to agree. Me and my husband say all the time, I love you, but we can agree to disagree. I don't have to agree with everything that he has to say. He doesn't have to agree with everything I have to say, but we have to respect each other and continue to love each other, because love is not an emotion. It's a choice. You choose to love. And when we lead with love that way, when we choose to love people based off of, you know, fundamentals, of course, but when we choose to love them, then I believe that kind of helps us to accept them for who they are, flaws and all, because God accepts us the way we are. So I just really want to encourage you guys to do that. I recently heard of a theologian who talks a lot about love banks. And he, in this display of love banks, he says, think of an actual traditional bank, okay? So think about a bank account that you have, whether it's with Bank of America or Huntington or whatever. Think of your bank account. So when you think of your bank account, you either are gonna make what? Withdrawals or deposits. You got it. Yes, deposits, right? And so he said, when you think about a love bank, think about every positive interaction being a deposit into you, okay? When you encounter a negative interaction or exchange, that's a withdrawal, okay? So positive interaction equals deposit, negative interaction equals withdrawal. So he said, now when you think of that as a love bank, look at all your relationships. And he also says that pretty much all your relationships are not, he says basically all relationships are intentional. Like it's not any relationship in your life that you have that's not intentional, meaning every interaction and relationship that you have pours into your bank. That's pretty much what he was getting at, okay? Whether it's family, whether it's coworkers, whether it's friends, whether it's clients, they all add value or sometimes take away value from your love bank. So he says, if you think about your own self, right? Knowing that you have a love bank, others have a love bank. So are you making more deposits or are you making more withdrawals? Y'all, that stuck with me, and it really resonated within me because, first of all, I'm a visual person, so I literally am thinking of a bank. And I really, my life's mission is to make more deposits in people's lives. You know, this is one of the reasons why we started this YouTube channel, because I really want people to win. Like, I really want people to thrive and become the best versions of themselves. And so I started to assess, like, am I making more deposits? Like, am I making more positive interactions and exchanges with people, or am I making more withdrawals? So that's my second challenge for you. Think about your love bank. Okay, first of all, assess the relationships that you have around you. Where are you in your love bank? Because you know, the more withdrawals you make, so the more negative interactions you have with people, what happens in the bank, in your account? It goes to the red. It's in the negative. So if I'm in the negative in my love bank and people are continuing to pull from me, or I'm having these negative, toxic people in my life, I can't really pour into other people. I can't really pour into the things that I love because I have no love to give. And then also think about who you are depositing into and how you are depositing into them. Are you showcasing love, or are you making more withdrawals for people? Having more negative encounters with them, having more negative interactions with them. So I know that this was more of a challenging video. You know, we challenge each other, but this was more of a direct hey, let's get to it. Like, let's really evaluate this thing, because we need to show more love, y'all. This year, 2023, we have to be more intentional about showing not only God's love, but learning more self-love, giving ourselves permission to love ourselves, flaws and all. And then once we do that, we can really love other people for who they are. So I hope that this video was encouraging to you. I hope that you learned something, and I also hope that you were challenged. If it spoke to you in any way, please don't keep it just for yourself. Share it with somebody. And also, if you're not subscribing, go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment on the video. I pray that you have an amazing week, and until we meet again, have an amazing day.